Music is a vehicle that can take you anywhere you want to go, anytime you want to be there. No matter what you do, why you do it, who you choose to do it with or for, music will ensure that the moment is always just right. The saxophone is the luxury sports model of all vehicles that insists that experience the ultimate groove that sets the mood for whatever you choose. Mighty Horn Music presents the COVID Concert Series with saxophonist Travis Bridges from the Hollywood Home Studio. Smooth jazz, top 40, R&B, inspirationals, and more. Thank you for tuning in. You are now on a musical first-class journey to anywhere you want to be. Mighty Horn Music is live from the Hollywood Home Studio. Another room in the Hollywood Home Studio. Here's hoping you are having a wonderful Wednesday evening. We've gotten through Monday and Tuesday. Those are the first 2 days of the work week. And now, not only is it Wednesday, it is Cinco de Mayo. And when I first learned to moved to Florida, I learned what that meant. You know, it's a holiday, and it's celebrated widely in South Florida in particular. And it's fun. And you can kind of see people who are celebrating that holiday cheering and celebrating those festivities. So here's hoping you're having a wonderful Cinco de Mayo. This is another edition of Swym Pwym also. Swym Pwym is the first letters of Say What You Mean and Play What You Mean. And I can't remember if it's a synonym or an antonym. It's one of those nyms or things that I learned in English and composition, but I can't remember right now. So if you know what it is and you're in the chat room, by all means, say something about it, okay? I would appreciate it. Yeah, that would be cool. Swym Pwym is about talking, and it's about talking about talking. My name is Travis Bridges, by the way. And I am a musician, saxophonist. My background is radio. And from my Hollywood home studio, I write script, I voice radio spots, and I produce radio commercials and some audio for TV. So if you need a script written, I am your guy, or I know someone who can write a script, and I will get that done for you, or we will. If you need a voiceover, my voice is still pretty good. And I have several other buddies and pals that we work together. We can get a spot maybe for you, and maybe just do a voiceover. That's what we call dry, in any format, and maybe a couple different languages. I definitely have some Spanish voices and some voices in Creole for sure, and of course your trusty old American English. So if you need that, holler at me, and I'll make sure it gets taken care of. Anyway, I am convinced that communication is the key to solving most problems. It may not solve all problems, but for the most part, anytime there's any type of disagreement, any type of chaos, any kind of friction between two or more people, it has to do with the level of communicating. And that doesn't mean that just because you talk, you're going to solve some of these problems or issues. However, if you at least begin to talk and you base your conversation on universal principles and or things that we called points of references and or just laws or maybe even contract agreement, you can settle some of the issues that are fueled by emotions, beliefs, thoughts, things like that. So as long as everything and everybody's getting along, you don't need to abide by those particular guidelines or rules. But the moment there is an issue, perhaps you should maybe resort to that. And I'm saying should, not meaning you should or have to. You can do what you want to do. I just think I'm offering a solution to society. It's just my thoughts. I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, I'm not looking for anybody to prove me wrong. But by all means, share your thoughts in regards to what I think is an answer to maybe even a world problem, if not a problem between two good buddies talking. So, again, communication is the key. It's the level of communication that we must be willing to do. And once the communication is kind of sort of out there, you've dotted the I's and crossed the T's, checked all the commas and the periods and the exclamation marks and everything, and you still have issues, then you go to, I guess, phase 2 of that conversation. Just look at, universal principles. What's really universal sound? Because I don't want to use the words right or wrong, but what's sound? What's just principle? And then from there you go to what is a point of reference, or what could be law, or then if you have a contract, you go by what your contract says. And I just have someone in the chat room. Thank you, Kimberly Covington, for joining me. I appreciate it. I guess I may sound a little mellow tonight. I do have a couple of guests I'm going to get on. This is still a part of my introduction. But just before I came in tonight, I had to run some errands. And one of my errands involved some walking. And before I started the walk, I didn't forget, but it just wasn't on my mind that I have to get back and do my live stream. So as I began to take this walk, which was approximately, well, it took an hour to get there and back. So I'm going to say it's about 3.5 to 4.5 miles away. So I started walking. About a third of the way there, I said, whoa, I've got to get back before 9 o'clock. So I started looking at my watch, and it's like, it's going to be tight. I'm probably going to make it, but it's going to be tight. So I kept walking. I speeded up my walk a little bit. Then I started thinking about it. Man, what if you don't get back? You were a little tardy last week. Maybe it wasn't your fault, but you didn't plan right. So I was like, what can I do? So I picked up my walk a little bit more. And after I crossed one particular street, it's like, let me see if I can get my run on. I haven't run in a while. I've been working out and training and getting some different types of exercising in, but I haven't been running. So it's like, let me do a little light jog. I started doing my little light jog. It's like, okay, all right. And before you know it, I had run like 3/4 of the way, which was at least, I'm going to time it tomorrow and measure it. But I'm going to say if it wasn't 2.5, 3.5 miles. So anyway, it felt good to, in my mind while I was driving, I was thinking, I can stop, but then I might be late. But then just go ahead and push yourself. You got it in you. You've done this before. You've run a half marathon before. So your brain has taken a picture of that, and you can do it. And plus, you think you're in shape anyway. You always tell people, I can run a mile with these flip-flops on. Or sometimes I'll stretch and say, I can run 5 miles right now with these flip-flops on. Just when I brag sometimes about how good I feel, or, the shape that I'm in compared to how I used to be in particular. But anyway, long story short, I did the run and I didn't stop. And I was seeing myself crossing that finish line, of pulling around that corner and picking up, my vehicle, which I was on my way to go pick up. That's why I was actually walking. But anyway, it was cool to do that. And I didn't look at the time until after I got there. I kind of gauged what I thought I had, and I was sure I would make it if I did the power walk. But anyway, it was cool, and I just thought I'd share that because it was a victory, and I was happy about checking out my physical fitness, especially my cardio, and I made it. So you know what that means? I'm probably going to do it again tomorrow and continue to challenge myself physically. I am on phase 1 of 75 hard, and I think I'm on day 18 now. I know it's 17 or 18, but who's counting? Anyway, I encourage you to try it. I'm going to talk to my first guest, and we're going to talk about the 75 hard program and just what's going on in her day. But before I do that, I'm going to talk about a post from today, and I'm going to read it to you, and I'm going to maybe talk about it, and maybe even with my guest, we're going to probably talk about it, so I'll read it again. No, Junior, out. No, out. Sorry, I have a dog, and anyway. So let me read this post, and then we'll go from there. What happened to it? Oh, here, it goes like this. It's headlined. I don't want to say it's titled, but it's headlined. Uh, we have what we say, and it goes as follows. The words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs and focus on them. Usually, what we focus on is what we attract. It's difficult to not focus on our immediate concerns, especially if they trigger pain or discomfort. However, that discomfort just may be the miracle and mastering of the mind over matter cliche, reality, fact, or truth. I'm just saying. That's the post. And I'm going to break it down a little bit. We have what we say. I think it lends itself to what I was saying in the beginning. The words we speak do have power over them, and if we communicate and we communicate effectively, we can actually have what we're trying to actually convey. May not feel good. I didn't get to that in the introduction just now, but part of that second part of the rule of governing yourself or a conversation based on universal principles or points of references or even laws is being okay with what you find. Sometimes when we govern ourselves that way and we measure by, what really is and what's not, what takes over and creates some of that chaos I was discussing is us not being able to accept it. And sometimes what we resist will definitely persist. And what we focus on, we tend to attract. So anyway, I'm going to get my guest on the phone and I'm going to read that post again. And hopefully my guest will be okay to discuss that with me. So as the phone rings, thank you again for hanging out. Kimberly Covington is the only one that's showing up in the list, and I'm 100% okay with that. If you are here and you decide to be quiet, that's cool. I appreciate you. And if you, hey, let me finish what I was saying to my audience. I was saying, if you decide to watch this like next week or you're watching it another time, thank you for tuning in. I do indeed appreciate it. This is considered nowhere near what I have in my heart and in my mind. And I promise you it will change, it will grow, and I see wonderful things happen. That is, unless, I'm not even going to say that. I think I'm called to do it, so I'm going to keep doing it until further notice. Anyway, hey, caller.
Hi.
Hey, buddy. Hey, pal. Hey, friend. How's your night?
It's okay.
Yeah? How was your day?
Yeah, a little tired.
Yeah?
It's fine. Busy, but tired.
Busy but tired. You sound pretty good.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm talking to my friend, so.
Yeah. We are friends, huh?
Yes, we are.
Tell me what makes me your friend. There's a couple of ways you can answer that. So if I was to ask you, why are you my friend or why am I your friend? Those are two different questions, and of course will yield to two different answers. However, the question I'm asking you is, how and why am I your friend? Hey, I've got Christine on. Let me say hi to Christine. Say hey to Christine before you answer that.
Hey, Christine.
All right. She's got two paws up, or two knuckles, or two claws. What are they, Christine? She's just saying hello. Thank you, Christine, for hanging out. Anyway, so tell me, how and why am I your friend?
How you're my friend, I think, is because we have a connection to each other, right? I think from the very first time that we talked, we had a good rapport, and it just developed from then till now. Why we're friends is because of that connection. I think we get along well. We do have some, we don't always agree on the same things, but friends don't have to always agree. You just have to realize that sometimes we won't. But we have some similar passions and similar personality traits, and we do like to challenge ourselves. We're both Cancer people, if that makes any difference, even though I think we're kind of different from each other in that aspect. But we do have some underlying things that are similar. So we're friends because of that and because we like each other. So I don't think people are friends with who they don't like. So that'll be my answer.
Okay, I appreciate that. I just want to comment on something you said. You said we don't always agree with each other. I just kind of want to straighten that out. The thing is, you just don't always take my side. That's the truth. That was your way of saying
Oh, gee
you don't
whittaker.
take my side on stuff that you know you probably should. But it's cool. I don't know. We won't get into that because we have an audience, so we can't get into that. But anyway, I'm going to move it on, and I'm going to read my post to what we were talking about. There's a post today, and I want to get your thoughts on it. And I'm not going to keep you long because I have one or two more people that's going to jump on with me. So I'm going to read this a little faster. And if you want me to stop, if you hear something that you want to comment on, I'll stop and then we'll address it. Otherwise, we'll get to the end and see what happens. So you ready?
Sure.
Okay. This is called We Have What We Say, and it goes as follows. The words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs and focus on them. Usually, what we focus on is what we attract. It's difficult to not focus on immediate concerns, especially if they trigger pain or discomfort. However, that discomfort just may be the miracle and mastering of the mind over matter, cliche, reality, fact, and truth. Did you hear that? Do I need to read it again, or did you hear something that stand out, or you want to read sentence by sentence? You tell me, because I'd like to address this with a yoo-hoo.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't need you to read it. I actually have it up. I was listening to you before you called.
Awesome.
So one of the things that's interesting to me that you said when you introduced this post was, we have what we say, but it's not a title. So what is it? It's just the first sentence?
Well, it is a title. However, I chose not to say a title at that particular time because a title officially represents a little something different. I said a headliner, not to mean it's not a title again. I wanted to use the term headliner because it's just because of how I was going to introduce the body of what I was going to say. So it's like if you have a concert and you have Beyonce live in concert, and then you have Shirley Jones and Devontae McCoy, and they are locals. If you just have Shirley Jones and Devontae McCoy, you may not get a drawing. But if you have a headliner and you say, Beyonce is coming to town, also featuring Shirley Jones and Deontay McCoy, kind of sort of that. So you have something that's good in the body, but the headline is what gets the draw. So I called it a headline for that reason. So I hope I didn't drag it out too long, but do you understand why I just decided to call it a headliner instead of a title?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
But I do understand. I think it's true. I think our words are very, very powerful. And what I completely agree with you when you said, we focus on what we attract, and that's very true. And maybe the discomfort is really sometimes what we really need.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we may not want it at that particular time, right? But you just never know what it's going to create or manifest.
Right. So when I mentioned that the discomfort may be the miracle of the mind over matter, it's in that discomfort that you actually get that victory. I was talking about running today. Did you hear me talking about running to
I
run
did not
my?
hear all of that. So tell me about that.
I'll tell you real quick.
I came on the end of it. So.
All right, so we have about maybe 8 more minutes. I think we can do this. But I talked about going to run some errands. I had to go and pick up my vehicle. And I started out walking because, I have to get my second workout in. So I knew for sure I could walk over there and it wasn't going to be a problem. But after I got there, I realized that I had a live stream at 9 o'clock. And I think it was right at about a quarter till 8 then, maybe 20 till or something like that. So as I started looking at the time, I was pretty sure that if I didn't run into any traffic or anything, I would make it back just in time. But after I got about a third the way there, I started to think, man, if I pick it up a little bit. And after I started picking it up, I decided to jog a little bit. So I was talking about how I started jogging, and this area. I jogged from from Johnson Street all the way over there past Sterling, back there in the bays. So you know where I go and get my Vico picked up at. So I did that jog without stopping, and halfway there, throughout the way there, I was thinking, well, maybe I'll stop here, maybe I'll stop there. But about maybe 2/3 the way through, I started thinking, bro, you got this. This is that comfort zone. Remember when you used to run back in the day, and it wouldn't get good until after you got past the sorry, initial tiredness. So there we go. I don't know how I got, dragging onto that. But that mind over matter, the miracle in pressing through is how you get to the end. So anyway, that's what I was talking about.
Okay. Well,
Hmm.
congratulations for pressing through. I heard that you say you might do it again.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna run again. I've got a few more weeks before I move on. I'm gonna take a little small trip, and before I do that, I'm gonna try to get as in much shape as I can. So I will over the next few days add that in there. Do you understand what I said when I said it's kind of difficult to not focus on something that's an immediate concern? You know, um,
Yes, and I agree with that.
right. But we focus on what we have. It's like, when you need something and you don't have it, or as something happens in your life, maybe you lose a loved one, or something happens on your job, or your car breaks down. You start thinking about it, and it creates a discomfort. It creates a pain. It's like, so how am I going to get to work? Or, what am I going to do now that I don't have the hours I used to have at the job or whatnot? It's hard not to focus on that. But if you focus on just that, more of that seems to come. And if you can kind of mind over matter, focus on, okay, well, there must be another opportunity. How can I now subsidize, this loss? What can I do? What do I have in my hand? What do I have around me that's left that I can make happen to not focus on the negative part and have a smile instead of a frown? Anyway, anything else you want to say about that? I'm kind of, I'm, I,
No, but I understand that. I think some people may have the ability to shut it down, right?
mm,
Because I believe there is a skill to that. So let's say, like you said, if your car got damaged or you had something happen and you take it to the mechanic, and then you just go about work, it'll make no sense worrying about what the mechanic's going to say, or what it could be until you actually really know what it could be, right?
mm-hmm,
But some people could just go about their day and continue to work until they hear from the mechanic, and then they get the real assessment of whatever is the issue, and then they figure out after that, what's going to be the next steps. But some people, and I know some of them, they will just hear, okay, the car is not working. Oh my God, how am I going to get to work tomorrow? Oh, am I going to be making it to church on Sunday? I got to do this, I got to do that. I ain't got no money for this. And they just start putting themselves all in this tizzy without even having all the information.
mm-hmm,
They just worry themselves to death. They come up with, they start looking at all potential solutions, which I can understand, but typically it's all in the negative, right?
right,
And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, so that by the time the mechanic calls, he could say, you just need an oil change. They done went through the world and back.
right,
And I think that's when it gets crazy. So if you have the ability to say, you know what, they're going to call me, they're going to tell me what it is, and then I'm going to have to make a decision and deal with it at that point. But I can't do nothing about it right now.
right,
So let me not put so much energy or focus on that. And I think that takes a little bit of extra effort, or also someone that may have been doing that in the past and say, you know what, this doesn't work for me. This is causing me more anxiety and stress. Maybe I shouldn't do that.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, most people are going to make it very difficult for them to focus on something else. It all depends on how big this difficult matter is. If
right,
it's a car or a family member or something more serious.
right.
But,
So listen,
but it's the same thing.
I appreciate that input. Um, I'm going to do something different tonight. I know I can't keep you on long, but I'm going to go to my next caller. But I want you to say hello to my next caller before I let you go, and I want you to address my next caller on one of those points in that headliner. Okay, you mind doing that?
No, that's fine.
Okay, so before I go, I'm going to let you know, or everybody else know, that this is Swym Pwym. I'm Travis Bridges. This is a live stream about talking, communicating, how we communicate, how we hear what we hear, how we listen to what we hear, how we pay attention to what someone may be saying versus what we heard, and so on and so on. I'm convinced that we can solve most of our issues if we're okay with being willing to communicate and talk about it, and then being okay with what we discover based on the truth of that, based on the principles we have to govern those issues by. So I'm going to say hello to Tony Morrow. He's saying what's up into the room. Say hey to my buddy Anthony Morrow.
Hey, Anthony.
Okay, let me see if my other caller is going to be ready.
Oh, you were saying hi to Anthony. I'm sorry.
No, I was asking you to say hi to Anthony too.
Oh, okay. I did say that right. Okay.
Okay, so I've got Christine and Kimberly Covington and Anthony Morrow in the room. And let's see, I've got a couple of more people. I think there's 7 total. So that's 1, 2, 3. There's 4 more people that are silent. They're assassins. What do you call it? Not assassins, but stealths. Anyway, I'm going to get my other caller on and let you say hello and goodbye, and we'll have you two meet and then keep going. So let's see if he's going to be available. Hang tight with me, okay?
Sure.
Oh my. Hope I didn't lose that.
Travis.
Hey man, how's it going?
Everything's great, bro. How you doing?
Not bad at all, man. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on with me. You know I appreciate it, right?
Yes, sir. I sure know you do.
You remember that last time we talked, it kind of got hot and it cold and got warm, then it blew up.
I remember the time, but I don't remember what the subject was.
I don't either. It doesn't matter what it was. I know you remember how it made you. You remember how it made you feel, though, right?
I,
You don't?
man, I really don't. It's vague right now.
Okay, so do you remember anything about it?
No, I really don't. I just remember we having the conversation.
You're making me look bad now.
Hey, I'm trying not to make you look bad, bro.
Okay, well, I'm gonna need you to stop trying. I'm gonna need you to just do it.
That's not my objective.
Okay, I know that. But you do remember the conversation, though, right?
I remember we had a conversation, but as far as what it was talking about, I don't recall.
Okay, and you don't remember nothing about how you felt or what you thought?
No, I really don't.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, Travis, you gotta drill down the man.
Well, yeah, that's what I do. By the way, caller 2, I don't call names. I would like for you to meet. This would happen while I'm on camera. I would like for you to meet caller number 1. She's only going to be on the line just to say hello to you, and then we're going to let her go, and you and I are going to try to get another one of those conversations. Maybe you'll remember this one.
Okay.
So caller 1.
Caller number 2. Hey, caller number 1. Have you been listening to us and we're talking about this post that Travis talked about? You know what? Like I said, I remember the conversation. But as far as what the conversation was about, I have
No, I think she's talking about earlier. So you weren't listening to the live stream before I called you.
No, I wasn't. No,
Okay, no problem.
Oh, okay.
So real quick before you go, you have it in front of you, right, caller 1, or did you put it away? Could you read it to him and then ask him his thoughts, and then we'll let you go and we'll let him finish. So you read it to him. What you're gonna do, caller number 2, is listen to what she says, and then you're going to give your thoughts on it if you remember it. If you hear something while she's reading that you want her to stop or repeat, just say, hey, 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 stop right there. Or if you let her finish it, it's just a short paragraph, then you and I will discuss it based on what you think. You okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, so caller one, you can go ahead and read it, and he's going to absorb it, and then we're going to let you go, and then he and I are going to talk about it. You ready?
Sure.
Okay, go.
We have what we say. The words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs and focus on them. Usually, what we focus on is what we attract. It's difficult not to focus on our immediate concerns, especially if they trigger pain or discomfort. However, that discomfort just may be the miracle and mastering of the mind over matter, cliche, reality, fact, and or truth.
I didn't know it was that long, but thank you. Okay, so we're going to let you go, and then he and I are going to discuss that. If you want to stay, you can stay, but I promise to let you go, so I'm going to go ahead and let you go, and we'll talk later, you and me, and I'm going to stay on with caller 2.
Okay, no problem. I'll go and I'll just be listening. So thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, you too.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, caller 2, did you hear that, or do I need to reread it?
You mean, caller 2, that's me.
That's you,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, reread it one more time, please.
Okay, remember, as I'm reading it, if you need me to stop to clear something up, or if you want to just stop and elaborate on something, I don't mind stopping. If you want me to get to the end, and then we'll discuss it, we'll break it down, I'm okay with that. So, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, it's headlined like this. We have what we say, and then the rest of it goes as follows. The words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs and focus on them. Usually, what we focus on is what we attract. It's difficult to not focus on our immediate concerns, especially if they trigger pain or discomfort. However, that discomfort just may be the miracle and mastering of the mind over matter cliche, reality, fact, or truth.
So you asked me, is that a reality fact or is it a truth?
Well, actually, I'm just kind of asking you to respond on your thoughts of it, whether you think it's reality, truth, false, there's anything to it, just your thoughts about it. So why don't I do this? Why don't I break it down sentence by sentence, and then we'll discuss it. First of all, we have what we say. Is there any truth in that to you?
We have what we say.
Yes.
I personally think that what you say is an expression of you. So we have what we say.
So
So that we hold in possession what we say. So we have what we say. What we say may be true and it may not be true. It's based upon certain criteria.
such as?
Well, to have something meaning that you hold it, you possess it, and to hold and possess something as not being factual would not be a good thing, most especially when there's a contrary thought to that opinion that is based upon certain principles.
I'm not sure I'm following you, but I want to ask you a question. How important is it to believe that we have what we say?
Well, it's important to be open-minded, not necessarily believing, but we believe to a certain extent, but we have to always be willing to make a change. You know, it was a wise saying that stated that a wise man changes often, but a fool never changes.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to always be open-minded for change. Change is development.
So, is it important to believe what we say?
Well, you believe it to a certain extent until you've proven otherwise wrong.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go to the second part here. That was the headliner, but the first sentence of that it goes like this here, and we'll talk about it. The words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs and focus on them. What I think is being said there is the words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs. So if we believe something and we focus on it, um, it has more of a tendency or have a tendency to either come true or I use the word manifest right there based on our beliefs in it. So when I was asking you how important is it to believe what you say, that's what I was kind of lending to in terms of that. So do you agree with the words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs and focus on them?
Well, based on our beliefs, it's like this. I may believe that gravity doesn't exist.
So let me just, before you give me that explanation, I'm just going to ask you that question again. And then, okay, the words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs and focus on them. Do you believe that's true, yes or no, before you explain? I'll read it again. The words we speak have a tendency to manifest based on our beliefs and focus on them. Do you believe that's true? Do you believe it's true?
Yeah, I believe that. Yes, sir.
Okay. Cool.
Not saying that what I believe is true, but definitely if it's believed more than likely, yes, if someone believes that way, it usually does.
Usually does what?
Manifest itself.
Okay. I'm going to move on to the third sentence in that statement. It goes, usually what we focus on is what we attract. Do you agree with that? Yes or no? Usually what we focus on.
Attracted.
Say it again.
I say yes, you have a tendency to attract that which you do focus on. I would definitely say that whether it be good or whether it be bad, if you focus on it, you will attract it.
Okay, good. I'm going to finish there, but before I do, I want to say hello to Julie in the chat room. She's just saying hello. Could you do me a favor and just say hello to Julie?
Hello, Julie.
Okay, so you agree with that? We can attract what we focus on. That's pretty cool. Some people don't, but I think it has some truth. If we start working on, I had some boxes to pack today, and I thought about it the day before. So when I woke up this morning, I started thinking about it some more. And as time went on, it's like, okay, I'm going to get around to it. But the more I focused on it, the more I started realizing, okay, it's getting later. I need to really start. And before you know it, I started getting the box and I started taping them up and started getting ready. And the more I focused on it, the more I start to dig into it and get it done. And before you know it, I had about 5 or 6 boxes done and I was finished. And I think, because I focused on it, I attracted the manifestation of it being done. Of course, I didn't just focus on it. I actually had to do it. But I wouldn't have done it had I not been focusing on it. And I think that's kind of universal in other things. They may not work that way, and that's a different scenario, but the principle is the same. When you focus on it, and the more you focus on it, you kind of start walking in that direction. They tell you if you're sliding and if you're skidding on the highway or even on ice or in the rain, I think is look in the direction you want to go. So when people see the wall coming, they start focusing on it instead of turning away. I never got that, but I kind of get it now. I'm going to go to the fourth sentence, and then we're almost done. I thought we'd be real deep.
It won't change the reality of the trajectory. But at least you got focused on that wall. A little lesser, mentally, I don't
I
know.
know, especially if you're like 2 feet away from it, it might be too late to focus on something. Oh boy. Okay, so the fourth sentence goes as follows: It's difficult.
If what?
Oh no, hold on. Oh yeah, here's the four. I think it's the fourth or fifth sentence. Well, the next sentence in the statement, it says it's difficult to not focus on our immediate concerns, especially if they trigger pain or discomfort. I want to read it again, and then just tell me if you agree with that. It's difficult to not focus on our immediate concerns, especially if they trigger pain or discomfort. You agree with that or no?
Well,
It.
I think immediate concerns, the ones that cause pain and suffering, are more prevalent. They're going to be a dominant focus, but it shouldn't be. More pleasant things in life should be the focus, but if you allow the unpleasant things to dominate your reality, then that's what's going to happen. You have to create your own, you have to create your universe. You have to create your circle. If you allow the negativity to engulf your circle, then so won't it be.
So with that being said, I'm thinking, like if something happens at work, I was talking before. Sometimes people get a reduction in hours or time due to the COVID. I remember. Well, you can relate to this. When the COVID hit, our jobs changed. We weren't able to make the same kind of income as we were making before, and it was just so. What we could do is focus on. Oh, I don't have the resources to take care of myself and my family, and you can focus on that. And for some reason, if you focus on that, somehow it rides itself out. But again, it's creating discomfort because if it's getting close to bill pay time and you don't have the money, naturally you're going to be like, oh, that's a sore thumb. It's hurting. I need to tend to it. So you focus on it, and then before you know it, you have more of that and more of that. However, if you start to focus on, okay, well, that shut down, but now I need to look over here and find out how can I generate or create another way for a source of income. Once you start focusing on that, you don't bring that to you. You bring to you what you start focusing on. For instance, you can focus on, oh, I don't have, or wow, I'm going to create something that's going to cause me to reproduce again. So yeah, it's hard not to focus on it, and it's a trick. There's magic in the mind over matter, and I call it the miracle when we can realize in our brain that we're focusing on the negative and accentuating it instead of focusing on and accentuating the positive. It's easy when it's painful and it's hurting. You going, oh, you want to hold on to that shoulder that's hurting instead of getting the ice to help the swelling to go down. Anyway, we kind of understand each other on that, and thanks for responding to that. And I'm glad you do see it that way, and you saw the optimistic way in that instead of the opposite. So that's cool, and thanks for it. If you saw it different, I'd like to know how you did, but you didn't. So I think this is going to be, pardon?
I tell you one thing that I equate it to is looking at a glass of milk. You can have two perspectives, both perspectives be correct. One thing that I have a half a glass of milk left, and another perspective, wow, I have a half a glass of milk. One is looking at it in a derogatory way and saying, wow, all I got is one glass of milk. The other one is looking at it in a positive way and saying, hey, man, I got a half a glass of milk, and thinking of ways by which to increase the amount of milk that they have in their glass. And the other one is only thinking within themselves, man, this is going to continue to deplete. It's the same half glass of milk. But it depends on, again, the mindset of the individual who is in that particular situation. Are they going to look at the milk as half full, or are they going to look at it as half empty?
Gotcha. I think that's the point you were making. You had me lost for a moment, but I got you on that. And I think I started going south on that because I started thinking of the lactose intolerant. And I'm thinking, I can't even relate to the milk in the glass. I'm going to just kind of let my brain blow this up. But no, I got your point. It's optimistic to look at a glass half full as opposed to half empty, depending on what it is. So I appreciate that. When we get to point number 5 now, I think, and I think it's the last one, and I've already covered it, but I just kind of want your feedback on it. That discomfort that you feel just may be the miracle and mastering of the mind over matter. Is a mind over matter, is that a cliche? Is that a reality? Is that a fact? Or do you find that to be just like truth? When someone says, because we repeat it all the time, there's mind over matter. What is that to you? Is that just a saying? Is that really truth, or is it reality? What is your thoughts on mind over matter?
Well, one thing I know, matter cannot exist without it being conceptualized in the mind first. So, mind over matter, I would definitely say that. I would agree with mind over matter.
So it's a reality, it's a fact, is it truth, or is it just a cliche?
I think it's a cliche for right now. But again, that's my belief. That's what I would believe in.
So is there any truth to that? When I just talked about the miracle of the mind over matter, for instance, when you focus on your shoulder being injured and the pain, as opposed to thinking of how I can get some ice on it and put it in a sling, you don't stop the pain, but if you focus on the pain, maybe it'll intensify, as opposed to realizing that you focus on the fact that you're going to start the healing process with the ice and the sling, who knows, maybe even an x-ray. So you manifest more of the pain if you just focus on the pain, but the moment you start to heal or work on healing it, you kind of change the situation. So that's more of a truth than a reality, maybe even a fact instead of a cliche. So how is it just a cliche as opposed to a fact or the truth?
Well, you have to think about it. When you get, like for instance, if you were to go get a colonoscopy, they're going to put you under. The purpose of them putting you under is so that your mind doesn't feel what's about to take place. Your mind doesn't experience the harshness that comes about from receiving the colonoscopy. If they allowed you to feel it, it would be very, very uncomfortable for you. So they have to exclude your mind. The way they exclude your mind is by putting you under, where your mind goes to sleep, or your mind is numb towards the effects of what's taking place in your body.
Exactly. Cool. So listen, I can't thank you enough. I called you earlier, and I remember that last one. You know what I think we should do, though? We're probably getting pretty good at this, and it is like the start. Before I pre-recorded it and then I posted it on the page, but now we're actually live, and it's a little different. And I like the way your voice projects. I like to hear your perspective. It's different in a lot of ways, and it's unique. So I definitely like to have you on again. But what I'd like to do is, since you don't remember at all how it made you feel, you don't remember the topic, maybe it wasn't that important to you, and it probably wasn't, but it's a part of the groundwork of what I'm doing, the bigger picture of where I'm going and what I'm doing. So could you do me a favor, if you have time? If you don't, I understand, but I'd appreciate it. I'll get you an extra dessert next time we have lunch. If you do this for me. If you maybe take some time and listen to that one again, and then let's discuss it, because I would like to know, if you don't remember the topic, what you think about it then versus now, or how it made you feel, because it was very sentimental to me, and I do remember how I felt, and I kind of wanted to talk about it for a second anyway, but you had no clue. You didn't remember the topic, and that's okay, because maybe it wasn't that important, or maybe you just are not focused on it right now. But for our next time we talk, and I promise I won't keep you long, if you'll just listen to it, and then let's discuss what you think about what happened at that time, because it was about a year ago, how it made you feel and what you think about it as it relates to now. So I'll send you the
How do I
link
go about
again.
listening to it?
Pardon?
How do I go about listening to it?
Well, it's on my YouTube channel, and I think it's under wow. I'll see if I can remember the topic. I don't even remember the topic, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the description, and I'm going to send you the link anyway. Wow, how can I forget? Maybe, you know what? It's worth looking at. Looking it up right now. Why don't I look it up right now? And I don't like dead air, but this is a moment I don't want to miss. So while you're here, I'm going to look up that topic. I just drew a little small blank, but it's okay.
Yes, sir.
It's all right. We do that sometimes. I'm going to pull it up, and then maybe it'll maybe it'll jar your memory. I've got so many now. When I started, I had not many at all. But I've been recording stuff and editing it and putting it together. I think I'm getting close to it. Oh, it's called Retract the Statement. That's what it was entitled. As a matter of fact, this is the trailer. Would you like to have the trailer, or you want the documentary? I'm calling it documentary.
The documentary.
All right, let me find it, because I want to discuss it with you. I think that'll be interesting. And then we're going to go, because I do have another caller I want to get to. Retract the Statement trailer. Come on, where's the other one? I'll tell you later. I'll tell you. Oh, here it is, Retract the Statement. So I'm going to send it to you right now. I'm going to share this, and then I'm going to copy the link. The link is copied. Let me pull up yo info. You know, I appreciate you being with me and even going through this while I'm talking on the phone. But I want you to have it. I want you to have it before I hang up. Here you are. There you go. Here we go with this. I love technology. Oh, man. I don't like this time. I thank my listeners for being patient, and for those people that are saying, man, why is he doing that while he's on there? I'm probably thinking that myself. I'm talking to myself. I'm being paranoid right now. But I just sent it to you, and I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get another caller on, because I have only 9 minutes to get the other caller on. But listen, thank you so much, man. You know I love you, bro, right?
Hey, you know I love you too, Travis.
I appreciate you, man. And I don't know, maybe a year, 6 months from now, 3 months, who knows? Maybe this will turn into something. I'll say, hey, man, I appreciate you helping me. And I'll just send you like a $50,000 check, and you won't even have to pay me back.
I like that thinking, bro.
Okay, so you have the link to the other one. If you'll do what I did with my other caller, let's see if my phone is that fancy. I don't know if it is, but if it is, I'm going to get my other caller on, and then you can just hand off like my other caller did to you. And I don't think it's going to happen. So, no, my phone isn't fancy enough. So I'm going to let you go and get my other caller on, okay?
All right, bro.
So this is what we're going to do. You're going to listen to that last documentary, and we're going to talk about it maybe next week if you get it in, if you are able to listen to it, and then I'll call you and we'll decide, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, bro. Have a good night.
You have a good one, too, Travis.
10-4. Mighty Horn Music is live from the Hollywood Home Studio, another room in the Hollywood Home Studio. This is Swym, Pwym. I'm Travis Bridges. Julie is with me. Kimberly Covington is with me. Anthony Myro is with me. Christine was with me. I don't know if she's here. I know she's probably watching, the Right Connection, because that's what I would be doing, and I will go and watch it later tonight. But I'm going to get my other caller on real quick. We only have a short time, and this caller will probably be glad because she doesn't like to talk, so she says. Anyway, we're going to get her on right now.
Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm very good.
Good. You got kind of fortunate at the end because I only have about 7 minutes, but what I'm going to do is turn the heat up a little bit more because you're not quite off the hook. I hope you were listening to the last two callers, were you?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Can you just give me your recap of your thoughts of anything you can remember? If you don't remember anything, I do have something else I can go right on to. But I'd like to know your thoughts about, that one post and those two callers, and you can have the last words to wrap up as we continue and close out another edition of Swym Pwym. So go ahead, your thoughts.
Well, I do firmly believe that what we think about and what we dwell on, manifests into reality. So, anytime that you do have troubles and issues, and that's all you think about, then those troubles and issues just continue. And you've got to put yourself in another place to, make other things happen for you. Make those things, turn into something good.
By just changing your focus, right? So if you think about,
Yeah.
okay, I had a flat tire and my car is sitting side the road, or say, okay, now I need to call a tow truck, because if you just go, oh my God, my car is side the road, that's what's going to happen. The moment you think about it, how you're gonna, first you think about, okay, it's gonna be towed, it's gonna get to a shop, and I'm gonna be back on the road again. And then you start to not only it happens by what you do, because you can think about something, but if you don't do it, it's just like the prayer and the thoughts and the wishing and the hoping and all that without doing something about is dead. So the moment you start thinking about it, you start speaking it, and when you start speaking, you start doing it, and as you start doing it, it manifests because you're doing it. So it's not like just magical. It just kind of is what it is. So yeah, so you agree with that. Anything else before we close out? Because I've got 3.5 minutes.
Well, I think that you have to spend more time manifesting and thinking about the things that you want in your life. And then when those other things, because things come up, things happen, that are negative, bad, you get flat tired, things happen. So, but you've got to spend more time meditating and bringing those other things into your life that are more desirable, and that picturing how you want your life to be.
Mm-hmm.
I did want to touch on the mind over matter, because that was kind of interesting. I think that your example tonight of your run was kind of mind over matter, because I know at one point during the conversation you kept saying, oh, I'm just going to go this far, I'm just going to go this far, and kind of were telling yourself when you were going to stop, but you didn't let yourself stop, so you kept going. And that's an example of mind over matter, because you could have stopped, you could have walked, but you put your mind to it and you kept going.
Now, if my mind over matter for what my back and legs gonna feel like tomorrow, if I can, if I can mind over matter that'd be a different story. But you know what? Oh, no. With that being said,
you do another run, and you'll be mind over matter tomorrow too.
And instead of focusing on the pain, I'm gonna focus on how I can go over to this massage joint and lay on that table and then let them do what they do best over there.
Well, you'll focus on how it feels when you get done.
Exactly.
And how accomplished you'll feel.
There we go. Well, listen, I would love to have you on longer. Maybe you'll come on another time. And you did get, I want to say lucky. I don't like using that word because it's bad. You're either blessed or not. So you were fortunate to be able to get to the end so you didn't have to talk long. But I like the way your voice resonates. It sounds good, and you should be on a whole lot more. You really do have a good voice, and it projects good. So don't beat yourself up because you don't sound like Barbara Walters. So you sound great. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I love you, right, and I appreciate you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful night.
You too.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Well, that was caller number 3 for another edition of Swym Pwym. Let me say thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. This live stream is about communicating. I really think it's important to pay attention to what's actually being said, what's actually going on, what's actually happening, as opposed to allowing our thoughts and feelings to get involved to where we can't solve an issue or we can't feel better about something that's going on that we may not feel so good about. So I'm just bringing awareness to what we focus on and how we get to the bottom of, some of the things that are out of order, the chaos, the disagreements, the things that cause people to not talk and not to speak, because we are all humans and we all want the same thing. We want oxygen, we want water, we want food, we want our, self to be healthy, and we want our loved ones to be okay, and we want to protect our things. We all have the same things. If you cut my arm right here, a little blood will come out. If you cut someone else, I don't care where they're from, they have the same thing. So there's no sense in us not being able to communicate and get along. And when we do get to that point, somebody either needs to check themselves, and that doesn't mean if someone just flat out, hurts you or harms you, literally, to not keep company with that person or that thing. But anyway, I hope you get my point. I appreciate it. This has been another edition of Swym Pwym. If you'd like for me to address an issue, or if you'd like to talk to me yourself, send me an email at travisbridges2 at AOL.com. That's Travis Bridges and the number 2 at AOL.com. Until next week, you find someone you need to say I love you to. Don't just say it, but show it to them. Again, Kimberly Covington, Christine, Anthony Morrow, Julie was in the house. Thank you, Julie. I appreciate you. And who else is here? There's 7 people now. I thank you. If you didn't log on, thank you for being there. Until next week, be good. Take good care of yourself. Find somebody you need to say I love you to. Don't only say it, but show it. Until the next time, have a great night, okay? Bye.